It was meant to be the perfect anniversary gift, something unique, meaningful, and full of heart. But when I handed him the carefully chosen sculpture, I never imagined it would be met with laughter and mockery. "What is this?" he scoffed, dismissing it like a mere trinket. Little did he know, the art piece I had chosen was destined for something far greater, a fate he'd never see coming. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss an incredible story like this one. I had spent weeks planning it. Every detail, every little touch. The gift for my husband's anniversary, my way of showing just how much he meant to me. But what I didn't expect as I wrapped it in delicate paper and placed it in a velvet box was the way it would be received. He laughed when he opened it. Not a warm chuckle or a surprised laugh, but a sharp, dismissive one. "Is this a joke?" he asked, eyes scanning the sleek, intricate piece I'd so carefully chosen. The art world was something my husband had always been distant from, preferring more traditional and less abstract things. But this, it was something I had come to admire in secret, the work of an artist who had no bounds, whose creativity went beyond the expected. A piece of art that was, in my mind, a conversation starter, something that would spark new ideas in us, just as our relationship had. It was an abstract sculpture, a piece that required an open mind to fully appreciate. I had expected surprise, maybe even awe, but I hadn't expected mockery. "It's just so out there," he had said, laughing it off. "Why would you get me this? It doesn't even match our living room decor." I tried to hide my hurt. "It's unique. It represents us," I had said, as though it was enough to explain the emotion behind it. But to him, it wasn't enough. "I don't get it," he responded, the words falling flat. He placed the sculpture back in its box as though it were just another trinket, unworthy of consideration. I watched him walk away, that cold laughter still echoing in my mind. That night, I couldn't help but feel a sense of shame. I had spent so much time picking something special, something unconventional, to mark the occasion. It felt like a slap in the face when he made a joke out of it. Yet I tried to shake it off. I convinced myself that it didn't matter, that gifts weren't about the immediate reaction. Maybe he just needed time to understand it. But as the days went by, the sting of his words didn't fade. My excitement about the gift slowly turned to resentment. It felt like the gesture I'd worked so hard on was nothing more than a punchline in a joke I wasn't part of. Still, I held on to hope that time would reveal its true worth, that eventually, he'd see the beauty I saw. It wasn't until months later that my gift would truly come into the spotlight. By then, I had almost forgotten about it, tucked away in a corner of our apartment, gathering dust. One afternoon, while I was scrolling through my social media, I stumbled upon a post about an art auction in a gallery on Fifth Avenue. My heart skipped a beat when I saw the very same sculpture I had given him. Only this time, it was displayed under the bright lights of a high-end gallery, a place where art lovers and collectors gathered in awe. I clicked on the post, my curiosity piqued. As I read through the description, I was stunned. The piece had been created by a rising star in the art world, and it had recently sold for $170,000 at that very auction. The artist had sold it for a fraction of its eventual value, but the gallery had recognized its potential long before it was discovered by the elite of the art world. I couldn't believe it. That same piece of art that had been dismissed, ridiculed even, by my husband was now worth a fortune. It was as though the world had seen something in it that I had always known to be there, something that he had failed to see. The irony of it all stung deeply. I picked up the phone, my fingers trembling, and dialed his number. It rang twice before he picked up, sounding distracted as usual. "Hello?" he answered. "You won't believe this," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "What is it?" he asked, clearly not in the mood for more surprises. "Remember the sculpture I gave you for our anniversary?" I asked, unable to keep the excitement from my voice. There was a brief pause, and I could practically hear him trying to remember what I was talking about. "Yeah, I remember. Why?" "Well," I continued, "it just sold at an auction on Fifth Avenue for $170,000. There was a long silence on the other end of the line, a silence that made my heart race in anticipation. I could almost feel him trying to process what I had just told him. "No way," he finally said, his disbelief palpable. "That piece?" "Yes, that piece. It turns out it was worth a lot more than we thought," I said, a touch of satisfaction creeping into my voice. But I didn't like it. I didn't even get it. It didn't fit in with anything." His words seemed to stumble over themselves, as though he was trying to grasp the reality of the situation. I could tell he was struggling with his own pride. The same person who had dismissed the sculpture, who had laughed at my choice, was now standing at the edge of a truth he couldn't ignore. The irony was too much to bear. The world had validated my choice, even if he hadn't. "I guess sometimes it takes a little more than just looking at something to understand its worth," I said, my voice now dripping with the satisfaction of having been right all along. We both fell silent. I could hear him breathing, the weight of what he had just learned settling in. And then, as if trying to ease the tension, he spoke again, but this time his tone was different. It wasn't dismissive or mocking. "Maybe I was wrong," he said, finally admitting what I'd hoped he would. "I guess I didn't really understand it at the time. I should have given it a chance." The words didn't quite make up for the sting of his earlier mockery, but I was willing to let them settle between us like an olive branch. After all, it wasn't just about the price tag of the sculpture. It was about the way we saw the world, the way I had seen something others hadn't, and the way he had initially dismissed it. Over time, the memory of that anniversary gift would fade, but the lesson it taught me remained. Sometimes, the things that seem out of place, the things that don't fit the mold, are the very things that end up having the most value. And as for my husband, well, he's learned to appreciate the unique, the unconventional, and me, perhaps a little bit more too.